she's being told X, Y, and Z, and I don't think much of it's sticking. I think she just wants to.
President Trump going to send the Statue of Liberty back to France?
Absolutely not. And my advice to that unnamed...
Kamusta mga kapong Pinoy? Surprise! Excited na akong imbitahin kayong lahat na manood sa mga laban ko sa Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open.
She blanked her first set 6-0, then collapsed, and now the whole world is watching her next move in Abu Dhabi. The viral drama, the real stakes, and the doubles showdown nobody saw coming. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Champions Tennisitics, the place where we don't just watch the match, we live the drama, we dissect the pressure, and we crown the queens of the court. I hope you are sitting down, because what I am about to break down for you today is one of the most layered, most emotionally charged stories unfolding right now in women's tennis. And it is not just about tennis. It is about resilience. It is about redemption. It is about a 20-year-old girl from Manila who has carried the hopes of an entire nation on her back since she was a teenager, and the moment of truth that is arriving right now, today, in the desert heat of Abu Dhabi. If you have been scrolling through your feeds in the last 48 hours, you have already seen it. You have seen the clips. You have seen the headlines. You have seen the outrage flooding every platform from TikTok to Instagram to Twitter. A storm has been brewing around Alexandra Eala, and it is not just about her tennis. It is about the way the world treats athletes who dare to come from a country the rest of the sports media has historically overlooked. The viral controversy involving White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt and our girl Alex has set the internet on fire, and whether you believe every detail of that story or not. And look, in the age of social media, nothing spreads faster than something that hits a nerve. The emotion behind it is real. The love for Alex Eala is real. The anger on behalf of Filipino athletes is real. And the pressure building on Alex's shoulders as she steps onto the court in Abu Dhabi today, that is as real as it gets. But here's the thing. We are Champions Tennisitics. We do not just talk about the drama. We break down the tennis. We give you the facts. We tell you what actually happened, what is actually at stake, and why this match, this specific, right now happening today match, matters more than almost anything else on the WTA calendar this week. So buckle in. This is going to be a ride. Let us start with the Australian Open, because that is where this whole story really begins to unravel. 3 weeks ago, Alex Eala walked into Melbourne Park as one of the most hyped players on the entire women's tour. She was ranked number 49 in the world, a career high. She had just come off a semi-final run at the ASB Classic in Auckland and had lifted the Kooyong Classic trophy by defeating Olympic silver medalist Donna Vekic. She was peaking. She was confident. She even told the media before her match, "I want to say this is the best I have ever played. I think I am in a good moment." And for one set, she proved it. Alex drew American Alicia Parks in the first round, a dangerous opponent with a serve that can reach nearly 200 kilometers per hour. But in that opening set, Eala was absolutely immaculate. She broke Parks early, dictated every rally, and in just 34 minutes, she handed Parks a bagel. 6-love. Not a single game. The Filipino crowd on Court 6 was going absolutely berserk, Philippine flags everywhere, chanting her name like it was a football stadium. For that one set, it looked like Alex Eala was about to announce herself on the Grand Slam stage in the most emphatic way possible. Then everything fell apart. Parks, a veteran who has been on the tour since 2017, simply regrouped. She found her serve. She started hitting her spots. She became more aggressive. And the momentum, that beautiful, fragile momentum that Eala had built, started to slip through her fingers. Parks stormed back to win the second set 6-3 and the third set 6-2. It was a stunning reversal. Eala did save 2 match points. She fought. But in the end, it was Parks who walked off the court, and it was Eala who stayed behind to sign autographs for the hundreds of Filipino fans who had come to watch her. After the match, Eala was gracious. She said, "It was so heartwarming. That is one of the things that makes a loss like today a little bit harder. I know a lot of people were rooting for me." And you could hear it in her voice. The disappointment was genuine. But so was the gratitude. This was her Australian Open main draw debut. This was a milestone. And even in defeat, she carried herself with dignity. That is Alex Eala. That is who she is. Remember that, because it matters for everything that comes next. So after Melbourne, where does she go? she goes home. Back to Manila. Back to the Philippines. Because right on the heels of the Australian Open, the country was hosting its very first WTA 125 tournament, the inaugural Philippine Women's Open. And for a girl who has spent her entire career chasing dreams on foreign soil, playing in front of a home crowd for the first time at a professional level was something deeply, profoundly emotional. Eala entered as the second seed and the highest-ranked Filipino player in the draw. She opened with a commanding 6-1, 6-2 victory over Russia's Elena Kharieva, a revenge win, actually, because Kharieva had beaten her back in 2020. Then in the second round, she dispatched Japan's Himeno Sakitsum 6-4, 6-love. Dominant. Ruthless. The crowd at Rizal Memorial Tennis Center was electric. 2,000 seats, packed tight, singing and chanting every single point. But then came the quarterfinal. Colombia's Camila Osorio, a former world number 33, a clay court specialist with grind and grit in equal measure, stepped onto the court and simply outcompeted Eala when it mattered most. Eala took early leads in both sets. She was up 3-2 in the first, up 3-2 again in the second. Both times, Osorio clawed back. The final score was 6-4, 6-4. Tight. Close. But ultimately, it was Osorio who advanced. After the match, Eala was gracious. She said, "It was so heartwarming. That is one of the things that makes a loss like today a little bit harder. I know a lot of people were rooting for me." And you could hear it in her voice. The disappointment was genuine. But so was the gratitude. This was her Australian Open main draw debut. This was a milestone. And even in defeat, she carried herself with dignity. That is Alex Eala. That is who she is. Remember that, because it matters for everything that comes next. So after Melbourne, where does she go? She goes home. Back to Manila. Back to the Philippines. Because right on the heels of the Australian Open, the country was hosting its very first WTA 125 tournament, the inaugural Philippine Women's Open. And for a girl who has spent her entire career chasing dreams on foreign soil, playing in front of a home crowd for the first time at a professional level was something deeply, profoundly emotional. Eala entered as the second seed and the highest-ranked Filipino player in the draw. She opened with a commanding 6-1, 6-2 victory over Russia's Elena Kharieva, a revenge win, actually, because Kharieva had beaten her back in 2020. Then in the second round, she dispatched Japan's Himeno Sakitsum 6-4, 6-love. Dominant. Ruthless. The crowd at Rizal Memorial Tennis Center was electric. 2,000 seats, packed tight, singing and chanting every single point. But then came the quarterfinal. Colombia's Camila Osorio, a former world number 33, a clay court specialist with grind and grit in equal measure, stepped onto the court and simply outcompeted Eala when it mattered most. Eala took early leads in both sets. She was up 3-2 in the first, up 3-2 again in the second. Both times, Osorio clawed back. The final score was 6-4, 6-4. Tight. Close. But ultimately, it was Osorio who advanced. Eala took it well. She spoke to the packed crowd after the match and said, "I did not pass this level today, but what is important is I am here in Manila, I am here in the Philippines, and I am thankful that the WTA is here." She earned 27 ranking points and $3,450 in prize money. Not life-changing numbers. But for the sport of tennis in the Philippines, it was historic. The first WTA event ever held on Filipino soil, and their national hero gave the fans 2 wins and a quarterfinal run to cheer about. Then she packed her bags, and she flew to Abu Dhabi. Now here is where we need to talk about the Mubadala Abu Dhabi Open, because this is not just any tournament. This is a WTA 500 event. That is the second tier of importance on the women's tour, right below the WTA 1000 events and the Grand Slams. There is over $1.2 million in prize money on the line, 500 ranking points for the champion, and the field is stacked. Defending champion Belinda Bencic is the top seed. She is the Swiss superstar who made one of the most remarkable comebacks in tennis history last year, winning this very title just 10 months after giving birth to her daughter. Elena Rybakina, the 2022 Wimbledon champion, was originally in the draw but has withdrawn after her incredible Australian Open run. Ekaterina Alexandrova is the second seed. Paula Badosa, Emma Navarro, Yelena Ostapenko, the names go on. This is a serious tournament with serious players, and Eala is walking into it as a wild card entry. Wild card. Let that sink in for a moment. She is not seeded. She did not earn her spot through rankings alone. She had to be given an invitation. That tells you something about where she sits in the pecking order right now. Even at number 49 in the world, she is still the underdog. She is still the one who has to prove something. And today, in the round of 32, she has to do exactly that. The venue is the Zayed Sports City International Tennis Center. Hard courts, fast surface, brutal sun, and swirling wind that can turn what looks like an easy overhead into a complete disaster if you lose focus for even half a second. It is a beautiful arena, and it is already buzzing with Filipino fans who have traveled to Abu Dhabi just to watch their girl play. Eala has been spotted on the practice courts in the days leading up to the tournament, looking sharp, looking focused, smiling for the cameras. She posted on Instagram before the event started. "Hi everyone. I am so excited to be back in the UAE and I cannot wait to be out on court." That is the energy she is bringing into this week. Excitement, not fear, not hesitation, pure, competitive hunger. And her opponent? Ladies and gentlemen, the draw has handed Eala something fascinating, something almost poetic, because waiting for her in the round of 32 is Turkey's Sonmez. Now, if you have been following Champions Tennisitics for any length of time, you already know this name. But if you are new here, let me paint the picture. Sonmez is a 23-year-old Turkish tennis player currently ranked number 112 in the world. She is rising fast. She is dangerous. And she has a story of her own that has been capturing hearts across Europe and the Middle East in recent weeks. At the Australian Open, Sonmez entered through qualifying, meaning she had to fight through 3 rounds just to get into the main draw. And once she got there, she stunned 11th seed Ekaterina Alexandrova in the first round. Then she defeated Anna Bonder in straight sets, 6-2, 6-4, to reach the third round. That made her the first Turkish player in the Open era to reach the third round of the Australian Open. The Turkish crowd in Melbourne was so passionate, so loud, that Sonmez told reporters afterward she could not even hear my own thoughts. Her run ended in the third round against Kazakhstan's Yulia Putintseva, and that match was a war. Sonmez lost the first set 6-3, but she fought back ferociously to win the second set in a tiebreak. The deciding third set went back and forth before Putintseva pulled away 6-3. 3 sets. A tiebreak. Everything Sonmez had, she gave. And even in defeat, she walked off that court as a hero in Turkey. So the woman walking onto the court against Eala today is not some quiet, easy opponent. She is riding a wave of confidence. She just made history for her country at a Grand Slam. She is playing the best tennis of her career, and she has absolutely nothing to lose. But here is where it gets really interesting, because this is not a matchup between 2 strangers. Eala and Sonmez know each other. They know each other well. These two have crossed paths multiple times, not just as opponents, but as friends. They were doubles partners. They played together at ITF events in Luxembourg and Slovakia, reaching the semifinals together. They train together. They have history, and it is complicated in the best possible way. On the court as singles opponents, Eala has the edge. They met at the ITF level in Nantes, France, back in 2023, and Eala won. Then, more significantly, they faced each other at the Eastbourne Open in June of last year during the qualifying rounds. That match was a masterclass from Eala. She dominated from the very first game, breaking Sonmez repeatedly and winning 6-1, 6-3 in just 1 hour and 12 minutes. It was clinical. It was ruthless. And it launched Eala on a historic run all the way to the Eastbourne final, the first time a Filipino player had ever reached a WTA final. She ultimately lost that final to Australia's Maya Joint in a heartbreaking 3-set thriller, squandering 4 championship points in the tiebreak. But the journey to get there? That started with the win over Sonmez. So the head-to-head favors Eala. The experience on big stages favors Eala. The ranking favors Eala. On paper, this should be straightforward. But here is the thing about tennis that casual fans sometimes forget. Rankings are just numbers. They are snapshots of the past. They do not account for form, for confidence, for the fire in a player's belly on any given day. And right now, Sonmez has fire. Sonmez has momentum. Sonmez has that incredible Australian Open run, giving her belief that she belongs at this level. And Eala? Eala is coming off a first-round Grand Slam exit and a quarterfinal loss at home. She has not won a match at a WTA-level event since before Melbourne. The pressure is on Alex. And in Abu Dhabi, the pressure is going to be suffocating. Zeynep Sonmez is a worthy opponent. She is a friend, a former partner, and a player who has earned her place on this stage. But if Eala shows up as the version of herself that she showed at Miami last year, the version that blank parks in that first set at the Australian Open, the version that tore through Eastbourne from qualifying all the way to the final, if that Eala walks onto the court in Abu Dhabi today, Sonmez is going to have a very long afternoon. The betting markets have Eala as the favorite. The head-to-head supports it. The talent gap, on paper, supports it. But tennis is not played on paper, and Sonmez is not coming to this match quietly. Expect a fight. Expect tightness. Expect nerves from both sides. But if I had to pick one player to come through this match and advance, it is Eala. Narrow. Competitive. Possibly 3 sets. But Eala. This is what Champions Tennisitics is all about. Not just the scores. Not just the highlights. The full story. The context. The human drama behind every single point played on every court around the world. Eala is about to step onto that court in Abu Dhabi, and the entire Filipino sports world is going to be watching. From Manila to the diaspora, from the fans who traveled to Melbourne, to the fans who packed Rizal Memorial Tennis Center, to the fans who are going to be in Zayed Sports City today, cheering her name. They are all watching. They are all believing. And they are all hoping that today is the day Eala reminds everyone, the critics, the doubters, the whole world, exactly what she is made of. The stage is set. The opponent is ready. The pressure is at an all-time high. And Eala is about to play the most important match of her young career. I do not know about you, but I would not miss this for anything in the world. Now, before I go, I need to hear from you. That is the whole point of this community. What do you think about the pressure Eala is carrying right now? Do you think she can handle it and get through Sonmez? Or is the mental weight too much, and the Turkish star pulls off the upset? And what about that doubles draw? Eala and Jin versus Fernandez and Mladenovic. Do the Southeast Asian duo pull it off? Or does the Filipino-Canadian legend remind everyone why she is one of the most exciting players on tour? Drop your predictions in the comments below. Seriously, I read every single one. I want to know what you think. Who wins? What is the score? Does it go 2 sets or 3? Give me the details. And if this video gave you even a fraction of the excitement I felt putting it together, do me a favor. Hit that like button. It takes you 1 second, and it tells me, and the algorithm, that this is the kind of content you want more of. Subscribe to Champions Tennisitics if you have not already, and ring that notification bell so you never miss a breakdown like this one. We cover every angle. Every story, every match that matters. We are Champions Tennisitics. We do not just report the news. We break down the game. Until next time, keep your eye on the ball and keep watching. Peace out. She gave it all away. Alexandra's shocking decision that made the world cry. Hold on to your seats, tennis fans, because what you are about to hear isn't just sports news. It is a moment that has completely rewritten the history books of humanity in sports. We have seen champions lift trophies. We have seen legends break records. But we have never seen anything like this. In a world where athletes fight tooth and nail for every single dollar, where the prize money is the ultimate scorecard of success, one young superstar has just done the unthinkable. She stood on the precipice of fortune, holding a check that would change anyone's life forever, and she didn't just share it. She didn't just give a slice of the pie. Alexandra, the woman of the hour, the champion of the court, stunned millions of fans worldwide and moved the entire stadium to absolute silence, followed by tears, with a decision that defies all logic but defines pure love. Instead of keeping even a single penny of her massive winnings, she made a choice that has left her manager speechless and her family in awe. Why did she do it? What compelled a young athlete, with her whole career ahead of her, to give it all away? And what happened in the moments after the cameras cut away? Stay tuned, because we are diving deep into the most heartwarming, shocking, and incredible story of the year. This is Champions Tennisitics, and you need to hear the full story of Alexandra's easiest decision. Before we get to the moment that broke the internet, we have to understand the stakes. You can't appreciate the sacrifice if you don't understand the cost. This wasn't just a walk in the park. The tournament leading up to this moment was a grueling, physical nightmare. Alexandra had been fighting through injury scares and exhaustion all week. The final match? It was a gladiator battle. 3 sets of absolute punishment. The sun was beating down, the humidity was suffocating, and her opponent was playing the tennis of her life. Every point was a war. Every game was a marathon. By the time match point arrived, Alexandra was gasping for air. Her legs were heavy, her muscles screaming. But she dug deep, deeper than she ever had before. When she finally ripped that cross-court forehand winner to seal the victory, she didn't just collapse out of relief. She collapsed because she had nothing left to give physically.
Can you clarify what kind of protest President Trump does support?
I think for United States, especially the juniors, I think it's a great opportunity to be exposed to this level and this competition.
It's only normal that with the loss comes disappointment and being upset, but then again,